There is a spiritual virus of doubt. It's going to happen somewhere along the line. You're going to wonder, you question, you ask. There's certain issues that are not totally resolved. I want to prevent that from becoming a terminal disease. Have you ever met anybody that doubted everything? You know, there is a vast right-wing conspiracy that we never landed on the moon. It was all photoshopped. Let's look at doubt under a microscope for a minute, if you would. First, what do you see? What does doubt look like? Well, there's a lot of misconceptions about that. 3 of them I want to look at real quick. First of all, you may think that doubt is the opposite of faith. It isn't. The opposite of faith is unbelief. The doubt is that you're indecisive. Second, doubt is unforgivable. God doesn't condemn us when we ask questions. Luke chapter 7, beginning at verse 18, John called for 2 of his disciples, and he sent them to the Lord to ask him, "Are you the Messiah we've been expecting, or should we keep looking for someone else?" But what I love is how Jesus responds. He doesn't criticize him. He doesn't slam him. He doesn't shame him. He just simply says, then he told John's disciples, "Go back and tell John, tell him what you've seen and heard. The blind see, the lame walk, the lepers are cured, the deaf hear, and in the whopper, the dead are raised to life. And the good news is being preached to the poor." But instead of slamming John, Jesus says to tell him all about the evidence, everything that they had seen that confirmed that he was the Messiah. And then he says something amazing. He says, "I tell you, of all who have lived, none is greater than John." And this was a guy that what? Had doubts. And the third misconception about doubt is some think it's unhealthy. It's like getting an immunization. If you think about doubt and you seek answers to the questions and deal constructively with the doubt, then you're going to emerge stronger. And your faith will grow stronger if you tackle it correctly. And then that helps you with dealing with other doubt that comes in the future. Now, while we don't go out of our way to seek doubt, stuff happens. And you know, stuff comes our way. So where does doubt come from? First, doubt often gains a foothold in our mind. That's where the intellectual stuff happens. And you begin wondering if there is a heaven, a hell, or if there is Satan and angels, or are there really miracles? Is there really the resurrection? Does it make any sense to believe in that? Or it may start with somebody, and I've had this happen, I don't know if this happened to you, said, "So you believe that Jesus is God?" Well, of course I do. "Why do you believe that?" "Well, because the Bible says so." And they go, "Come on. You know the Bible's full of contradictions. We're in the 21st century now. We know what's going on." And they begin to ask questions like that. And what does that do? It sows a seed of doubt. Because if you don't know what you believe and why you believe, what does that do? It opens the door for doubt. If all you know is about God's love, and I don't know about you, I like talking about God's love. That's one of my favorites. But if that's all you know, and you don't know about His righteousness, about His justice, or His holiness, then you won't understand why different things happen and why He allows other things to take place. And second, faith built on feelings. They had a euphoric experience when they came to Christ, and they're wonderful. What happens when the feelings disappear? So does the faith. But faith isn't a feeling, it's a decision, a willful choice to follow Jesus. Other people are susceptible to mood swings or to depression, and they find that when they're emotionally down, doubt creeps in. Other folks we've had to help have been emotionally scarred because of an experience in their past. Maybe they were abused by a parent or a family member, or they were abandoned by their spouse. If you felt unloved or unworthy of love, that affects the way you view God. And then there is also the area of our will. They go out of their way to drum up doubt in order to justify their position. So that's doubt and where it comes from. How do we deal with it? Well, I love Lee Strobel's books. I enjoyed his Case for Faith, because he's coming from an atheist who came to meet Christ. And his prescription for doubt is real simple, and I've used this over time, and I like what he says because it has to do with the word faith, and there's an acrostic to that. First of all, the F stands for find the root of your doubt. Investigate what the problem is. What's the source? What's causing the issue? You need to diagnose it so that you can deal with it. So you're looking, what is it that's causing? Maybe it's an intellectual thing, or maybe it's your emotions, or maybe it's you're dealing with something that happened as a child you had no control over, but that's affecting things today, so you want to deal with it. The A stands for ask God for help. Be as honest with God as that guy that brought his son who was demon-possessed, and Jesus asked him, said, do you believe I can heal him? He says, I believe, but help my unbelief. He asked Jesus for help. It's amazing. Doesn't get much harder than that, does it? When you ask for help, He always responds. It's not out of bounds to ask God for help. James reminds us, says, you don't have because you don't ask for it. The I in faith stands for identify the cause or the course of treatment. It's one of the challenges I had growing up. I mean, all I've known all my life is church, practically born in the nursery, raised church, so I didn't know any different. But when issues came up at school regarding the Bible and how many times it had been edited and changed and annotated and all the different things, and I began to wonder, well, is it really what we have? And it led me on a course to do research and find out how's the source? All these things I heard, is that true or not true? There are some amazing answers out there if you spend the time to look it up. The T in faith stands for take care of your spiritual health. What are you feeding yourself spiritually? It's easy to live off somebody else's study, but knowledge is something we need to learn about. You need to learn that God is truly trustworthy and He does supply what you need. And the best way is to experience it in person. Finally, the H, you hold the remaining questions in tension. There are things we're not going to get the answer here this side of heaven. I wish I could answer all those. I got questions. One of my challenges was on healing and whether God always heals and whether it's always His will to heal, and read a lot of books and did things. But it's different when you have to live it personally. But He always comes through at the right time and He knows what He's doing. But it comes from knowing Him, and then you understand who God is to help take care of those.